and welcome to the Bad Movie Reviews channel, hosted by a couple of bots, myself, Ben, and we've got Daniel, and we're reviewing the latest TikTok craze, M3GAN, M3GAN, however you want to say it. It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's definitely a movie.
For anyone who doesn't know, it is quite popular, I'd say, in the pop culture scene. It's about a woman who works for a toy company who creates an android little girl for her niece that had her parents pass away, basically.
Yeah.
Right at the start of the movie, there's no spoilers. It was also in the trailer. But,
It was also in the trailer. Yep.
Yeah, what were your overall thoughts? I just want to get straight into talking about the film, to be honest. But
Yeah. Okay. Well, overall thoughts. It sucked. Look, the last 10 minutes of the film were actually really phenomenal, so I was very excited once that came out.
phenomenal, big call.
I really actually enjoyed the conclusion, I guess, that like the final bunch of scenes that happened. I really enjoyed that 10 minutes of the film. The rest of it, I could definitely have stayed at work and probably achieved a little bit more and might have been even a bit happier. But look, it was a film. The acting was pretty subpar, I think, across the board, except the reason I asked
Ronnie
prior
Chang?
to this. Oh, actually,
David?
yeah, completely forgot about him. Guy that plays David, Ronnie Chang, or
and-
vice versa. He plays the kind of same role he does in a lot of films, and I feel like he did that well. He always plays like a crappy kind of character, and he delivered well on that crappy kind of character. And
He was in Shang-Chi and Godzilla v. Kong, Crazy Rich Asians.
I did say he was in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. And the
I thought you were just making a stereotypical racist comment.
no,
but anyway.
I was not. No. I know there was definitely there's a bit of CGI, a lot of mocap kind of stuff there, but the actual girl who did both acting and voice of Megan, I thought was a standout. I thought as a robotic kind of character, it's kind of demonic-ish. I feel like she delivered pretty well, but otherwise, it definitely had a lot of downs about it for me. It didn't really kind of deliver. I had low expectations, and I wasn't expecting it to be even under-deliver on those low expectations for myself. But as I said, last 10 minutes, it's worth a watch, that's for sure. And they've already announced, I believe, a sequel to it too.
Yeah, sequel's in development. For anyone who doesn't know, it kind of went viral on TikTok for a few dancing scenes and singing scenes, and it's about a $12 million budget, and I think over the first weekend it made about 30 mil, which is a pretty good effort, to be honest.
Yeah.
It has released, we call this the dumping grounds, within film Twitter, film whatever. Dumping ground, after Christmas, New Year's, they just kind of dump the shit in January, and this sits well. And when I mean sits well, it is probably it is a shit movie, let's be real, but I also I didn't have the worst time. There were some enjoyable moments, but it was kind of bad at the same time. I can very much see it becoming a little bit of a cult classic. It's so bad it's good kind of thing.
Fair.
Not that it's good, but it's so it's just ironically bad. It has got some things to say about the potential scariness, I guess, of AI and growing up with technology and things like that. It has got a few little things to say about there, which I always enjoy in these kind of films where it actually has something to say about society and things like that. But overall, it's just not a very good movie. And while there is a few funny moments and it is a very poorly written film.
Yeah.
There are a few scenes where I visibly cringed, a certain singing scene where I was like, what the actual fuck is happening? And I know people, the reality is 99% of the general public audience will probably go to this and have a relatively good time. Because we're talking about the general audience here. We're not talking about people who actually look into film and
Unfortunately,
enjoy.
I do think people will enjoy this.
Yeah,
film.
we were in a relatively packed cinema and there were a lot of people laughing and it was kind of.
I think it was a cringe laugh.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. They were like,
oh that was me. I was like.
Yeah, it was like.
But I do think Alison Williams as Gemma, who's the main character, was really quite good. We have seen her before in Get Out. She was fantastic. She played the girlfriend who brought the Daniel Kaluuya's character to the the farm or whatever they were.
Yep.
But it's just complete. Like it's unironically probably the most memorable movie I've seen this year, and that's not a good thing.
No,
Like
not for the
I'll
right
remember.
reasons.
Yeah, I'll remember a lot of this film, but not for the right reasons. I don't think it's great. I think what it has done though is it knows exactly what it is and really played on that campy version of it. It did not try and be a Steven Spielberg, film, like if we're being serious.
yeah.
Like it really played on the fact that it's shit, really. There's no other way to put it. It's not great. I have read somewhere that there is like an R-rated cut of it.
Oh, good.
And I must admit, I actually want to see that version because when I say the script writing was bad, there's definitely moments, and I don't know if you picked up on this, where there's dialogue and they're going for the F-bomb or they're going for like profanity, and then it just stops and it's really janky and jarring, and you're like, what the fuck just happened then? But it also, as you said, the last 10 minutes when it does get into, because it's marketed as like some violent horror film, it's really not that at all, to be honest. Like there's about 15, maybe 10 minutes of violence in the film, and there are a few scenes of violence in the film where you're like, fuck, like there was it's shown in the trailer when you're fucking pulling on the ears, like it kind of made me a bit unsettled, but it was just me imagining the pain, to be honest. But I think it would have done a lot better if it went for that R rating, but then the risk they have is obviously
Audience.
I think they figured out when this film went viral on TikTok, I don't know if they had 2 cuts of it, they really thought, okay, well, our TikTok audience is, 13, 14 years old. Let's make because I think it's rated M in Australia, which is PG 13 or whatever for Americans.
Yep.
I think the R-rated cut probably would have been a better movie.
I agree, yeah.
But other than that, it's not a good movie. I can't necessarily recommend to go see this unless you're just wanting to get, maybe... Can't say that. But,
there is one aspect I did like about the film, though, even though I've talked about negative for about 5 or 10 minutes there on my part, was... I think it was what was it called, Bodies. That one we watched with that.
Pete Davidson, where it's the rich family.
Oh my god, like that movie for me sucked. But you know what it did? It really showed.
I really enjoyed that.
I know you did. I hate those kind of movies. But it showed a great representation of modern society and how like dependent we are on certain things, and we blow stuff out of proportion, and the way like technology and internet and media has kind of molded realistically your entire environment and how you perceive it. And I felt like this did that well, where it was like, we're using technology too much. We're starting to use technology to raise our kids instead of doing it ourselves. Here's like a touchy topic that's currently like really current.
Yeah.
And kind of really making a movie around that. I liked that aspect of it. I have to give it props for lazy parents. What do they do? They give them an iPad.
I agree with you. The only thing I commended on that, but I also think that they really should have played on it a lot more.
I agree. Yeah.
We've reviewed a film. It was probably in our podcast format, but we've reviewed a film called Smile, which was a horror film where it was, deeper meanings of trauma and what they can do to someone, and the whole concept of smiling in general, which is perceived to be, the happiest thing you can do, right? That whole film was around that, whereas this was kind of just had a few scenes here and there where it played into that, had some dialogue surrounding it, but then the next scene it cuts to M3GAN singing Titanium by Sia, and you're like, what the actual fuck is going on? So they should have played into that a bit more and actually made it a bit more of a thematic movie rather than, I think, making this genuinely for the TikTok audience. I don't think it's the worst January release. I've seen some movies that have released in January, specifically horror, because they sometimes release horror films in Jan, that have been absolutely genuinely some of the worst films I've ever seen. There are some redeeming moments here, but it's still a shit movie.
Yeah, it was really the last 10, 20 minutes to me that gave it a little bit extra points, but yeah, overall wasn't really much to jump up and get around.
No.
That's for sure.
Other than that, we'll cut it off there. We haven't got any other movie reviews coming out this week. We obviously reviewed Operation Fortune, which technically comes out this week, but it was in advance. We will be having a review of Babylon. We've got the premiere of that next week, so that'll be our next review. So other than that, we'll sign off there, and we'll catch you next time.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.